So it is like the this is for a like homonuclear diatomic molecule. Like let's start with like same atomic orbitals. Then we will we will discuss about heteronuclear. So for this the two are for this here actually two like for in case of hydrogen. In case of hydrogen, how they interact to form a molecular orbital. So this is the phi 1 is the hydrogen 1 and phi 2 is the hydrogen 2, and they will come closer and interact. So this is how the square of the wave function actually gives the probability density of the molecule, in which like each electrons, what is the probability of each electrons, which will be either we will find it near the atom 1 or near atom 2, or we can find in between the two atoms. That is the overlap term. So here it is shown here it is shown clearly. The first term is probability of finding the electron closer to atom A, like at closer to orbital phi 1. And the second term, this where is the coefficient is C2 square. This is the probability of finding the electron closer to atom B, and this is the overlap term which is in between. So as they are individual atomic orbitals are actually normalized, so they this probability like gives 1. So there is always 100% probability you can find electron somewhere in like near to each free atom. So there is the 100% probability, and this is the overlap term, which is the most important, which I will show you why it is the most important. So for homonuclear diatomic molecules, the value only what is different between homonuclear and heteronuclear is just this coefficient. These coefficients in case of homonuclear, these coefficients are equal. So if these coefficients are equal, after normalization, you can see this the value of coefficient is the value of coefficient C1 and C2 we can find out by normalizing this psi plus and psi minus. So you like after this you can like where S is the overlap integral, and the value of S will be always in between 0 to 1. Either there will be 0 or no overlap, or there will be some partial or little overlap, or there is full overlap. That's why it's 0 and in between 0 and 1. Till now, is it fine? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. So now it is we are showing how how this molecular orbital is formed. So so the here you can see easily the two atomic orbitals combine to form two molecular orbitals. This is also a thumb rule, like number of atomic orbitals will be equal to number of molecular orbitals. So here it is. So how it is forming? So two atomic orbitals combine to form two molecular orbital. One is in phase, like this. These are waves, na. So that's why it is one is in phase combination, constructive, and one is destructive, that is out of phase combination. So one is bonding, which is lower in energy, and which is lower, and the property of bonding orbital is that it is lower than the lower in energy than the lowermost orbital. So and there is anti-bonding orbital, which is higher in energy than the most unstable orbital, like most so this is the property of bonding orbital, and non-bonding orbital. And here you can see easily the gap, which is delta E2, which is greater than delta E1, which tell us that or anti-bonding orbital is always more anti-bonding than bonding orbital is bonding. So this will come later in more like this will come again, and you will like you will get more relevance with it. So these are the property, yeah, which I told you, the molecular orbitals for hydrogen molecule. And these are yeah, in phase combination constructive interference for this bonding. And yeah, this I don't told, the large in case of bonding orbitals, the electron, there is a large electronic density in the internuclear region. So there is you like yeah, so for there is no nodal plane in between the internuclear region. So in bonding orbital, if you add like electron, each electron, by adding each electron, this lower the molecule's energy. So vice versa, in case of anti-bonding orbital, if you add electron in anti-bonding orbital, then the molecule becomes more destabilized. So this is the thumb rule. So small, and another is in case of anti-bonding orbital, the electronic density in the in between the two nucleus is very small, and the nodal plane exists between the two atoms. So and yeah, and this is the simple ammo notation which you guys will use regularly, which we always use. So this the so similar, for similar sign, it is similar shade, which is it indicates the sign of atomic orbital. And for the this reflects, and the size of the this actually atomic orbital reflects the magnitude of its coefficient, in like how much it will contribute to the molecular orbital. So there are few basic rules of molecular orbital theory. So this I told you, I think. So like yeah, this rule I told you already. The interaction of n atomic orbitals will leads to formation of n molecular orbitals. So number of atomic orbitals is equal to number of molecular orbitals. And the bonding orbital is obviously more stable than the lower energy. This also I told you. And anti-bonding is less stable than the higher energy, yeah, higher energy atomic orbital. So yeah, so now like yeah, now I want to ask you guys a question. So in case of on till now what I have told you, by using this, why hydrogen can form a molecular orbital easily, whereas helium cannot? Only difference between them is like hydrogen has 1 electron in its valence orbital and helium has 2 electron in its valence orbital. So can anyone of like yeah, chemistry guys easily know that.
For helium, the bond order becomes zero. Means two
Yeah,
electrons in bonding and two electrons in anti-bonding, so bond order becomes zero.
yeah. So that satisfy this rule, na. So that satisfy this rule. Like if you add electron in anti-bonding orbital, it gets destabilized. So this is the catch here. So yeah, this is the simple formula for finding the bond order. There from bond order, then you can predict its paramagnetic, diamagnetic, or its stable molecule, unstable molecule. So this is the case for difference between dihydrogen and dihelium. So so if you like yeah, for if you do for helium 2 plus, then it's a structure of hydrogen, dihydrogen only. So that at that time there won't be any problem. So yeah, basic rule. So for the rule number 2 is, all if the atomic orbitals are degenerate, their interaction is like proportional to overlap integral. So and what is overlap integral, which you saw, the overlap between the two atomic orbitals, they may be same or may be different, there is no yeah. So this overlap, so the degree of overlap, so it determines like how much strong the bond is. So if the overlap is very large, then the gap is also large, because bonding, more stronger the bonding, more stronger will be the anti-bonding. Or so this, so by this we determine the strength of a bond, so by degree of overlap. So there is on the overlap part is also not very simple. It depends on some other factors also, like the orientation of the orbitals and the shape of orbitals. So this I am showing you in the later slides. So orbitals, this is also what I told you earlier. The orbitals must have the same symmetry. Say, like if you, like all you guys have done the group theory, till now, I guess. So the, like they should belong to the same symmetry. So same irreducible representation. So if the orbitals have different irreducible representation, so that will tells that the overlap is 0. And then, and if the overlap is non-zero, then you can easily tell that they have, then it is not actually like they can have same, and then they must have like same irreducible representation. And as a result, so as a yeah.
Hello. Yeah.
Hello.
I have a question. In group theory, we determine the irreducible representation of the symmetry elements.
Yeah.
So, how? I
Here the
didn't
symmetry, here the elements are what? They are orbitals. Here you are determining the irreducible representation of the orbitals. Different orbitals have different irreducible representations. They are also, you get it, na?
the point. I get it, but how to deal with that? I have no idea. Means,
Oh,
uh,
that, yeah.
yes, I
That,
have the
for that,
idea to deal with the point groups irreducible representations, but not with the orbitals, I think.
okay. That's that I can. So yeah, that is very similar. Like, let me. I don't have the text now here. I can always. I can send. Yeah, I can get to you later, and I can discuss this. So it's, you know the basic thing about group theory now. So it there won't be any problem. You just need to be get accustomed with how to like make it. With like how to get do it for this orbitals. So it's very simple. I will show you.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are the overlap and bond type. So you, yeah, just like what sigma bond, this is sigma bond, then pi bonding. So these are how the interaction, how they are defining the interactions. What, just see it carefully, the what is a bonding and how an anti-bonding orbital is shown here. So see the, even the shades, this shows you like what is bonding and what is anti. This is only a way of representation. So, and what when the actually non-bonding also come in case of transition metal, this non-bonding also plays a major role, like in case of those complexes. So when this non-bonding orbitals occurs, so so this overlap actually depends on internuclear distance, and also the orientation, also that is the angle of the orbit of the orbitals which they are with respect to each other. So a similar 2p orbital can have zero overlap, you know, like they are same orbitals, they have same irreducible representation, but just due to the this orientation thing, due to this orientation they are having zero overlap. So and yeah, what I
Yeah,
mean
can
to,
I just say
yeah.
something here just to make it clear? Yeah, I just want to say one thing. That is, this is, think of the orbital combinations as interference of waves. So in-phase combination of waves results in an enhancement in the wave amplitude. So that is the bonding orbital. So when the orbitals combine in phase, they give you bonding. When they combine out of phase, they give you anti-bonding. And the angle is also like when two waves interfere. So the phase angle of two waves which interfere. So it's exactly analogous to this. Because
Yes,
remember,
yes,
the orbitals are also wave functions. They're called waves. So there's always an analogy there.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes,
I just wanted to mention that.
yes,
Yeah, Vivek, you can continue. Sorry.
yeah, yeah,
Hello,
it's,
hello. I
yeah,
have a question.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hello. So, if different type of orbital they make each other oriented by any axis, no? Hello. মানে, if I say 1s and another is 2p, so
Yeah.
Yeah, like the picture here. Yeah, yeah.
they can orient by any arbitrary axis, na particular axis. That's the question.
So what, the overlap can, in principle, occur from any angle. So that depends upon like how the molecular structure is.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, so the simplest case that we deal with is, of course, diatomics. Then it is clear that there is a bonding axis. But if it's a twisted molecule of some sort, you have all kinds of overlap. But then you can't do it, like you can't draw things on your own. Then you have to rely on software and computation.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it fine? Till now, like everything is okay, na? It's very basic. Hello,
Yeah, Vivek,
everyone.
you can
Yeah.
continue. Sorry for
Okay.
it.
Okay. So this, yeah, here it is showing how bonding as well as the distance it's impacts the overlap. So in this case, I don't have a pointer. So in this case, when the theta, the angle is 90 degree, you can see that 1s and 2p orbital how they are interacting. There is, if even if you want to make them overlap, it would be very minor or less overlap, like near to zero. So, and in the second case, you can see there is when the angle is zero, the overlap is, the extent of overlap increases, and as well as when the distance is less, if you can see from this graph, the overlap increases as well and you keep on going increasing the distance, this overlap is decreasing. So this is what I wanted to say. So it is also for same for other orbitals like d orbitals. So this is the diagram of dz square orbitals, how they are forming bonding, and one is anti-bonding. So in case of pi, how they are forming, you can, like, it's just the schematic representation of a orbital, like pi orbital, and this the last one is delta orbital, which happens in case of dx square, and it's all for the transition metal. Like, this is if you want to do the molecular ammo theory for transition metal, then you would definitely need this rule. And the basic rule 4 of MO theory, like, if the atomic orbitals are non-degenerate, they're yeah. Before that, we are discussing about degenerate. They are homonuclear, so same atomic orbitals. Now it's getting into more generalized form, where it's not necessarily like in case of carbon monoxide. Its atomic orbitals are not same. One is carbon, one is oxygen, which is more electronegative. So, so in case of that, the interaction would be proportional to the s square by the energy separation between the atomic orbital. Like, how much that can get from any internet, or that is easily available, that data, like in separation. So if you see this phi 1 and phi 2, I have drawn a line. So the width of this line, that is the delta E, that is the energy of separation between the two atomic orbitals. And usually the bonding orbital is mostly like it's mostly localized on the atom with deeper lying atomic orbital. So always this bonding orbital will be close to the more electronegative atom, which is more like which is more deep, which will lie more deeper. So vice versa would be the case for anti-bonding orbital, which would be more closer to this the higher energy orbital. So yeah, so there you can see the coefficient would definitely not be the same. So C1 is not equal to C2. So, and if the delta E, this value is difference is more than 12 or 14 electron value, then there would be a non-bonding orbital. So there will be zero interaction. So yeah, this is the final this is the final picture of how this strong interaction, weak interaction, and the non-bonding interaction, what happens. In case of the first one, they are of equal energies. So their orbital energy difference is 0. So in case of hydrogen. And the second case is the example of, you can say, carbon monoxide or those kind of molecules which have unequal energies in case of atomic orbital. And third one is where the energy difference extends 12 to 14 electron volt. Then what happened? Then it's almost non-bonding or weak interaction. So yeah, this is the basic idea of MO theory. So this is what would be beneficial for this course, I think. Is it fine? Hello? Hello?
Yes.
I cannot see any.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank you.
yeah, do you guys need that slide? I can share it in the WhatsApp also. You can just have a look. These are the basic rules. Like whenever you need, you can just have a look. I will then send it to the WhatsApp group. Okay, so any doubts? Hello?
I have a small doubt.
Okay.
So, when you are suppose considering the heteronuclear atom for forming the MOs, then if suppose some antibonding orbital of say lower energy is almost close to the bonding orbital of the higher energy MOs, then I mean, will there be any interaction between the two MOs?
Can you again tell me, I couldn't get your question?
So suppose there are some one is I am giving as an example. I don't know if in reality it happens or not.
Okay.
Some two different atoms are there. One is overlaps, causes some antibonding orbital, that is suppose 1 sigma star, and
Yeah.
then 2s causes some bonding orbital, suppose that is 2 sigma. Then will there be any interaction between the 1 sigma star and 2 sigma, like that?
Okay. There won't be any, till now what I have studied, I haven't seen there won't be any interaction between, or I would like, yeah, they won't actually matters. They won't interact, So, but this might that the two sigma might be lower than one sigma star. That you get it, na? 2 sigma can be lower than 1 sigma star, or this can happen, but there is no like they won't affect each other.
So once the molecular orbitals are formed, they are all orthogonal to each other. So there is never any interaction between molecular orbitals.
Yeah, that is more precise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
So
Okay.
okay, is it? So I will stop sharing.
Yeah. Thank you, Vivek.
Uh,
I
yes.
think this